Right, let's get this show on the road. Wherever you are in the world, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Welcome to Bradford City vs Accrington Stanley Pre Match chat, other Bradford City stuff, and also tennis balls. I have sent an open invitation out to the supporters boards to come and join us today. I know one of them's here already, but hopefully the rest will turn up. If not, the invite's there as well. Also, I've asked Roop out to come and join us to discuss about the plans tomorrow, if there's going to be tennis balls or not, or just basically see what happens tomorrow. I am joined by my regulars, Stan and Diane. Hopefully Callie would join us at some point. So we're going to spend about 10 minutes just talking about the Bradford City game tomorrow versus Accrington Stanley, and then we'll go on to other stuff. So, good afternoon, Stan and Diane. How are you two today?
I'm hungry. I'm just about to put my tea on.
What about you, Diane? Are you okay, love?
I'm fine, yeah, not too bad.
£1 million question, Stan. Though, what are you cooking for your tea, mate?
It's become a bit of a ritual now, but it's Fish Finger Friday.
Fish Finger Friday. Brown sauce, red sauce?
Vinegar. About 10 gallons of it.
Nice. Right. So, starting off looking at the league table, Bradford City are currently 19th. We have played 18 games. We've won 5, drawn 5, lost 8. We've got a current goal difference of -7. Accrington Stanley, who are they exactly? They've played 18 games, won 9, drawn 2, lost 7, and got a goal difference of 3. Tomorrow's referee is Keith Shrewd. He has refereed 8 championship games, 1 League 1 game, 1 League 2 game, 1 Super League game, Women's Super League game. Bloody hell. In 8 championship games, he's giving out 45 yellow cards. In League 1, he's giving out 3 yellow cards. In League 2, he's giving out 6. And in the Women's Super League, he's giving out 6 yellow cards. And he's only dished out 1 red card, and that was in the Championship. And then we'll just quickly glance on to the Bradford City team news. So this is from the TNA, and it's from Simon Parker. And he's saying Graham Alexander may decide to stick with 3-5-2 after the big win in the Bristol Street Trophy. Where are we? And team news for Accrington Stanley. John Coleman will be hoping to have Sean, Wally and Joe Pritchard available again after Jack Nolan's hamstring injury added to Accrington Stanley's casualty list. Oh my God, pronouncing names again. This is my best part of the day. I'm just going to call him Longello. He's hurt his ankle and he's also in doubt. Their top leading goal scorer is Josh Andrews on 6. So, Stan and Diane, what do you think will happen at the game tomorrow?
I think it'll be a win. I think we'll carry on winning. If that's what you mean? Yep. I think we'll win. Because we've got that win under his belt now, so should do.
What about you, Stanley? Stan, sorry.
I think it'll be interesting. I think I'm hoping that the momentum will carry on from Tuesday night, and it's more about are there sort of elements in the performance that you kind of think, right, okay, we can start to string a few wins now, and hopefully, I would say if we play like Tuesday night, I know it was Barnsley's like 10th team or something, but that breeds confidence. That's what it's about at this point. Get the wins. So I'd say we have the potential to win if we play to how we sort of played on Tuesday night.
And hello, Raj. How are you today?
Hi, good evening, John. I'm all right. How are you? You okay, Johnny? Sorry.
Yeah, I failed my HGV other day, so I'm a bit disheartened, but I'm going to crack on with it and hopefully pass
retake it. You'll smash it next time. Onwards and upwards.
I will.
Be positive.
So, Raj.
Let's hope he doesn't literally smash it though, Raj.
Smash it as in passing with that certificate in his hand. That smash it, I would say.
So, Raj, what's your predictions for tomorrow, and how do
Okay,
you think
so
we'll line up
yeah,
for tomorrow?
obviously, I went on Tuesday night after work. I finished, so I just drove straight to the ground after I got in, and it was a very good performance. Did well. We played quite a strong team, which I didn't expect. That was probably a statement of intent after what had happened in the previous game. So it's pretty much a strong A team that we had out. I think tomorrow we'll win. It's going to be tight, but we'll probably scrape it like 2-1. And I think he's going to stay with the 5-3-2 formation. And one thing I'll say though is John Coleman and the way he sets up his sides, it's going to be a very tough game and it's going to be a hard game. And at the moment they're flying, they're doing very well. So expect a tough afternoon either way. Don't even be surprised if it ends up being like a score draw or something like that. But yeah, it will be a tough game. I could see it going either way, to be honest. But I think we might just nick this one. But Accrington have got a good record against us, so that's all I can say, really. Nothing else. But yeah.
If anyone else wants to put a request in, you know what to do. Put a request in, and me, Stan, or Dan will accept you. So then, just talking about the tennis balls.
Yeah.
Do you think it? So going from Stan to Raj and Dan as well. Do you think tennis balls will get thrown on the pitch
No,
tomorrow?
I don't think that anything that will happen. I think it's just a lot of lies, and I think people are just making it up from what I can gather. You never know, but I don't see it happening tomorrow.
What about you, Daniel?
I don't see it.
I don't think they will, but I think they might be doing strategic bags checks, definitely, just to make sure that nobody's got any tennis balls.
I think.
Hopefully.
Go ahead, Dane. Sorry. Go on.
So hopefully it won't happen
No,
and disrupt the match.
I don't see it happening.
I think what will happen is that there will be so few people, if anybody, doing it, that if you're on your own, then you are likely running the risk of being ejected. So if you're the only one that basically wants to get ejected, then go ahead. But yeah, I think I agree. It probably won't happen.
Okay. We've also got around the grounds on today. So I'm just going to send you speaking request around the grounds, and I know you're going to be around Bradford City area tomorrow. And if you do accept the invite I've just sent you, if you'd like to just tell people what you're doing tomorrow around North Parade in the Bradford City area. Oh, wait. But, right. So I've sent him a request. If he accepts it, he accepts it. If he doesn't, he doesn't. But also we are joined by Bradford City Independent Group. Nice to see you've turned up, Steve. Thank you for coming. Is anyone any... Oh, here he is.
Evening,
right,
how we doing?
All right, yourself,
Yeah,
mate?
good mate, thank you very much. It's first time doing one of these speakers, so bear with me, lads. Yeah, I'm just going to be about, just chatting to a few fans, just doing a little bonus vlog, just to get you guys' views on everything that's going on at Bradford City, because you're in a similar situation to my club, Sheffield Wednesday, and I just want to see how you guys are feeling about it, because reading on social media, it's quite varied, so it'll be just nice to chat to as many as possible. So I'll be heading down to North Parade. I've never been down there. I've heard it's the place to be, so I'm going to head down there and then head up towards the ground. So if you catch me and you fancy a chat, just give me a nudge, because sometimes I'm in my own world, so you'll have to give me a nudge.
I think the Record Cafe on North Parade is probably the place to be if you want to go for pre-match beer and check out vinyls and stuff like that. So
Lovely. I'll head there then.
So we've had Jacob, who has asked to be a speaker. Jacob, the floor is yours.
Cheers, pal. Evening all. Hope you're all okay. It is my thing on the tennis balls. I don't think they will be. The reason being, First of all, it's just the opposite game. That means there'll be more active time at the end, and we'll lose all motivation. And what happens when we lose all that? We go lose their game. So if so, part to see what we did on Tuesday night and continue that. I can't see tennis balls being thrown on that pitch tomorrow.
Jacob, whether you can or can't see it happen, what's your thoughts on the actual concept of it? Do you agree with it, or do you think it's not appropriate, or there's better ways of voicing concerns?
I definitely agree with the fact that something needs to be done, but at the same time, is it really worth it at the game when we might be on top of the game? Or is there something to do out less is the stadium, or try to get a voice heard? I did see on social media the other day actually, people throwing tennis balls. It actually did okay for them. Like they got new owners, promotions. I do think something needs to be done, but in concept of tennis balls, not really.
Okay.
With the whole kind of concept of that, did anyone read John Dewhurst's piece in the width of the post? Did anyone see that?
No.
No, I've not seen that, Stan.
It's worth a read because he's a very measured. John's a very measured guy. He did go to see Stefan in Germany when basically Edin was running the club into the ground, and what he was ultimately saying is that effectively I think Stefan does want to sell, but he is an honourable man, and I don't think he wants to just sell it to any chances. So ultimately, really, the issues is that as a club, it's not an attractive proposition from the sense of, obviously, don't on the ground, don't on the training pitch, whatever, and things like that. So, I'm sure the club gets approached many times by many people, but up to now, there's been no serious offer. Well, aside from the Wagme one, but you can all see what's going on down at Crawley, so it's worth a read. He's like I say, he's a good guy. He's John Dewhurst, and it's a very measured piece.
Okay. Is anyone else want to put a request or anything in just on about the tennis ball issue? I know. Sorry, around the ground. What's your name? Sorry. Does it say what his name is?
No.
So around the grounds, like you said, you're a Sheffield Wednesday fan. I know you've had like issues at your club with high ticket prices and stuff like that. Has the fans been throwing tennis balls on the pitch with your team?
They did, mate. Yeah, I can't remember what game it was. It was minimal, though. To be fair, it was a bit pathetic. Personally, I think there's a better way that you can do it without the tennis balls. I think it's a separate issue to what's going on the pitch. I think as a club, you need to stick together and try and get them results, because at the end of the day, that's what matters to you fans. It's results, and what's happening obviously behind the scenes is a side issue. So that maybe there's other ways that can be a protest, maybe a fan march or whatnot.
Because we've had Jacob just put something in. Sorry, I've just seen this late. Jacob, 12 minutes ago, there won't be tennis balls after Tuesday night's performance. I think, to be honest with this, if you wanted to make an impact on the tennis ball situation, you would have it on social media like nearly every day. So I think it's a bit of like a publicity stunt on it all, because Rupout, who originally did the post, has not said anything since when did he put it on Facebook? Bear with me 2 seconds.
So I'll get Andy Murray to come down. He'll have some practice. We'll get Andy Murray to come down. He's free, isn't he?
So
It
Rupout,
only lasted for about 2 days, though, didn't it? they're real hype about it. So
Rupert posted on the 19th of November on his Facebook on about tennis balls, planned walkout at Valley Parade, or protest at director's entrance. So on Facebook, the result was to protest at the director's entrance. But then on Twitter, he then put on Twitter, I think tennis balls won, I think. Let's have a quick glance.
Yeah, we did put that they'd won.
We are delighted to announce we're going ahead with our tennis balls, thanks to all these who voted on their shared opinion. Tennis balls are to be thrown on the pitch in the 7th minute to mark 7 years of Roop's disastrous ownership. Please retweet and share. That was the 19th. And then on the 19th unders, but for these in the upper stand or far away to throw, feel free to hover around the concourse till the 7th minute and help us make a mainstream media. Thanks again for involved. But it was not posted anything in the next couple of days. So I don't think that's going to work. We see Charlie, the parader, has got his hand up, so the floor is yours, mate.
Hiya, right, I am out in Halifax right now, so it's going to be very, very brief, and then I'm gone. For me, right, around the grounds isn't here. Hello, mate, massive fan. If I'm at the game tomorrow, drop me a DM or I'll drop you a DM. Follow me back if you need to, and I'll speak to you about that. But for me, the protests, the problem for me is I've not seen anything sort of factually based. The only fact I've seen is that we've dropped the lowest since Reading. You know what I mean? We've dropped the lowest since Reading, since Bury have gone bust. Now, for me, right, I'm not being funny, but League One was a blip. Pushing League One playoffs, that's happened once in recent memory. For me, that's not worthy of a protest. I understand that the players are performing. But at the same time, it's not what we want. And I don't think it's right and necessary for a protest. I think what we need now is the players to improve their form, and they've got a lot of confidence, especially from the Bristol Street Motors trophy. But I don't think that now's the time for a protest. I don't know if you agree or what, but I just think now it could go terribly wrong. It'd knock the players, and I know I'll get called a happy clapper for this and whatever, but personally, I'm a stats man, and I think what's going on is the players protesting. No, the players need confidence. The players are capable, and they've proved that in the trophy. But they've not done it in the league, and I think a massive influence to that is the fans. And that's not knocking anyone who spends the money to go to City. We all love City, and it's great that they go. But I think there's a point to be made that if the players are playing well and confident, a protest won't make them confident. Yeah, that's sort of my point. It's a bit shit, but I'm out right now, so that's my point, and I'll listen from now on.
So before
I
you
won't
go,
be able to speak.
Before you go, Charlie, before you hit them Jaegers and get absolutely teetotaled for tomorrow, are you doing a space tomorrow after the game?
I'm going to say no, because I potentially might be out again tomorrow. So that's the state that I'm in. But no, I'll say no. So if you want to cover that, you can. Or if you want to just do the pre-match, that's on you.
All right, mate. Enjoy your night out. Don't get too drunk. And don't do anything I wouldn't do.
Cheers, mate.
Right, Steve from the Bradford City Independent Fans Group. The floor is yours, my friend.
Hi.
Hello, Johnny. Good evening. Only seems 2 minutes ago we were doing a space together this week. There we go. Okay, so the tennis ball thing, first of all, we as a group, I think I kind of said this the other night, is we don't really have any problem with kind of, protests. If, it's the simple fact that they've even made the time to organise something like that. But like others, I think it will be lukewarm in terms of how it'll be received. You might see a couple on there. I can't see, 300-400 people throwing balls on there, but, our viewpoint is protest, but as long as it doesn't damage the club or its reputation, or that we incur kind of deductions or things like that, because I think that is going to be another mountain to climb for Graham Alexander, who's already got enough on his plate trying to turn around the fortunes of this team. So kudos to people who were protesting, but the fact is that I think the problem that we have right now as a club is. Sorry, I don't know.
Owen, could you just mute your send for a minute for us, please?
Sorry, Owen. Do you want to make your point, pal, and I'll shut up.
Owen,
Oh,
do you want to make your point quickly, bud?
what? Set up with that?
You're saying something?
Oh, just what's this protest?
What about throwing tennis balls on the pitch?
Yeah, who's doing that?
That's outrageous, mate.
Apparently, it's RuPaul isn't on social media. If you've been living under a rock for the last couple of days, you might have not seen it. But he's apparently.
I don't really go on my phone and that at work, so.
A group of them are planning to basically they've tried to organise where people bring tennis balls into the ground, and then the 7th minute they'll throw these balls onto the pitch to gain some national media coverage and let the powers that be at Bradford City know that they're not happy. That's the root of it, essentially, for those who've not really heard anything about it.
Who do you think will do it? Because I don't think I'm going to throw a tennis ball, if I'm honest with you. I just don't think it's going to achieve anything.
I could probably tell you who's going to do it. Northwest corner, and probably people in the cop, if they've got the... I'll say it as it is, if they've got the balls to do it. No, if three or four people do it kind of thing, it'll probably end in disaster. They'll probably get identified by throwing stuff on pitch and then get kicked out, and probably a banning order.
That's what I mean. It's just not worth it if only a few people. I think we should just tell them to sell up.
I think that the problem that we've got at the moment is that there is splinter groups across the fan base. We haven't seen all of them come to the fore yet, but there is little groups planning various different things, and I think right now, without sounding like happy clapperish, which I don't really like that term anyway, you support your club and that's it. But the fact of the matter is that there is stuff that people are unhappy about right now. We know from the feedback that we've had into us. We're trying to remain neutral on it because we understand that fans have the right to have their own opinions. It's fine. But I think you've got to start to look at the effectiveness of what you're doing. That the reality is that there's rumours that Rupp is going to be at the game tomorrow. That he's flown in, and he's flown in to meet Graham Alexander. So literally, I'm sure there's going to be shouts of sack the board and things like that, especially if City don't start off well in that game.
If they're giving it, we're going to lose.
Well, I think it's going to be a really tough game. I agree with somebody who said earlier. John Coleman sets up teams very well. He's not fazed by the size of our fan base. He's not fazed by the size of the ground, and he'll basically want to kind of carry on the momentum from the Wrexham win. So I think it'll be a really tough game, to be honest with you. And if City are not at the races, then we could have a problematic day tomorrow, being honest. That said, we had our own kind of result in the week, albeit against an understrength Barnsley team, but they did look quite competent when they were knocking the ball around. They looked a lot more urgency about Bradford the other night, and I think that they linked up well. So we'll see. We'll see how which version of our side comes out tomorrow and as a go. But I think right now, Johnny, we've got a situation where there is a good percentage of fans that are unhappy. We, as you know, have called for, or we've suggested that we need to really get an emergency fans forum, because I think the only way you're going to diffuse this situation with fans who by the way, for the most part, frustrated, is by getting into a place where you can basically ask the questions. Whether you get the answers or not from Sparks et al., then I don't know. But I think that there's got to be some way that actually the club starts to communicate and engage with fans again, rather than just trying to sell them stuff via Twitter and other social platforms. And I think that's the challenge. When we look back, the facts don't lie. The club, when Rupp took over, was basically challenging for championship. It was in pretty good shape. There wasn't really any kind of fan derision at that point.
No.
And Rupp did say that his plans were to try and get this club back to where it should belong. And then obviously Edin situation, he then vowed again that he was proud to be the custodian of the club, and he was going to get us where we need to be. Now, from that statement to present day, something has changed with him, because albeit he's covered various different things, and now the club's self-sufficient. Great. It's his right or not to put investment in, but I think it doesn't make any business sense to me. As a business owner myself, I look at it and go, okay, well, if you want to sell the club, which is rumoured, and I think, Johnny, you said you early on apparently, or somebody said that John Dewhurst had gone out there and did a number with Rupp about Edin, and that he'd outlined then that he wanted to sell the club, but he wanted to do the right thing. Well, that's fine, but if you want to sell the club, then surely it's better to get the club into the healthiest position on field and the healthiest position in leagues, because your value goes up and there's more money that comes in with being in League One and then the Championship. So you surely then you're looking at, okay, well, I've got to invest here. I'll speculate to accumulate, because if I can get this side up the league and get it out of League Two, get it into League One and get top half performance in League One, not only am I going to increase potential Sky money or broadcast money, we're getting paid more for position in league. So it makes no sense to me why he's on I'm not going to invest, because and then still tries to charge the same price. Allegedly, he's looking for £10 million. I'm not sure that he's going to get that, if I'm being honest. And this thing about, okay, well, we haven't got any assets and there's no ground and no training ground. There's plenty of clubs that have been sold who don't own their grounds or don't have own their own training facilities. The fact is that the brand and its customer base, which is substantial in Bradford, is very valuable to prospective buyers, because they can sell lots of things to them and engage with them. So, there is buyers out there, but I'd like to see Rupp, if he seriously does want to sell, I'd like to see him basically make it formal. Go to an agent, basically put the club up for sale, announce that it's up for sale, and basically then follow that through. That's the reality of it that he needs to do now. If he's serious about selling, don't play it. Go out and formally do it. Put it up for sale. Do it. Make sure that all parties are aware that it's up for sale. Charge a reasonable price, or charge whatever you want to charge. But the fact is if he does genuinely want to sell the club, then he's got to put those things in place.
So before we go to Stan, I know Tony's been waiting for a while. So Tony, the floor's you, and then after Tony, we'll go to Stan.
Thanks, John, by the way.
Yes. You there, Tony, lad? Tony?
I'm here.
He's here. So what's basically the floor's yours, mate?
There'll be no protest tomorrow. I can guarantee it, because where they're going to all sit, it is supposedly going to be all these people going to throw tennis balls on. There won't be one thrown on tomorrow. It's all, whether this kid is or whether it is, I think he's just attention seeking.
Yeah.
Because I don't think anybody's going to give a toss about tennis balls being thrown on pitch tomorrow. The most important thing tomorrow is getting behind the lads and getting this season turned round. I have a mate of mine, I've not done biggest part of my life. He don't know him personally, but he has been in his company, and he said, you're going to have to give Alexander time. He said, because he's inherited a football team I do agree with him, who was very low on confidence.
Yeah.
Very low on confidence. And it proved that last week against Notts County. And I said to you last week, their front line, if they get going, will rip us to bits. And that first 30 minutes of that first half, our defence looked like they didn't even know who each other were.
Yeah. So with I don't know if everyone saw the apparently email what got leaked about the security team and everything like that. I had to chat with somebody at the club. They'll remain nameless, but they're saying, by all accounts, that what got leaked is a fake, and also the language used on that is what the club would not use.
I got told that as well. It were fake.
I've heard that as well.
I think, guys, it's like what we probably have to take into consideration is that there are some odd people on social media, and I think somebody like mentioned it's the same as the in the know accounts that just are either seeking clouts or just, pardon the terminology, but are just shit posting online.
Yeah, 100% agree with that.
And you know the reality is, I think just going. Is it Steve for the Independent Supporters Board?
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, I thought I'd got your name right. Yeah, I think just to sort of reiterate what Liam had said from the leagues, the 606. Liam is the Bradford City mascot, and he was basically saying in terms of investment. Now, what I'll get to what you've sort of like said with regards to the other stuff, but apparently Stefan can't put any more into the club because of FFP rules, because we're kind of up to the limit. It's based on your turnover and your basically what you're bringing in commercially and all the other kind of stuff, sponsorship deals. So unless we got a massive sponsorship deals where he could match that, we would kind of fall foul of that. And apparently the reason why teams like Wrexham could get away with that, because they kind of got a deal with Netflix or something, but also those rules didn't apply in the National League. So, but you know, it's. I mean, we don't know, do we, with regards to whether things are going on in the background. I mean, this is me speculating, but you know, I mean, the whole kind of seeing Gordon Gibb back, that might be just common sense of just like having a good relationship with him, or it might be something going on in the background. Please don't quote me on this. This is just an opinion. I'm just speculating based on the same information that everybody is out, you know, receives out there. But interestingly, Steve, you were talking about like having some sort of fans forum and stuff, and I think that's a good idea. Do you think it would be a good idea, or is it one layer too many, do you think, an unnecessary layer? But do you think it would be a good thing to actually get all these groups, these Bradford City fans, and almost have like an independent forum in itself, almost like you can like drive a sort of like an agenda for a meeting kind of thing with the club, if that were the case?
I mean, we put out the space. Now, we invited all the other trusts. Anybody was welcome to come along. We actually invited the club as well. And Robert Cramner did come along, but he basically came along in his own capacity rather than representing the club, etc. But I think that the feedback that we get at the moment from fans, and we've grown our membership quite nicely in the last week or so. But the feedback we're getting at the moment is that quite a few people don't have confidence in the official supporters board. You know, I'm not here to judge them or comment on that. That's people's feedback to me. And, you know, we felt that we needed to try and organise something, because what's happening at the moment across the fan base, and it's not fans' fault. Some of them it is, but not for the biggest percentage, is that there's Chinese whispers that goes on along social media, left, right and centre. And generally a lot of the information that's being shared is wrong. It's incorrect. And what then that ends up happening is it turns into infighting amongst fans and kickback. So we're trying to deal in a neutral way and in facts. We'll listen to all opinions and we'll basically kind of we'll try and support our fan base in having a voice, and not just in the bad times but in the good as well. So we put out the request, come and join us and have a conversation. Johnny's done that again tonight, and we've turned up. I don't know if anybody else is here from the supporters board, etc. But I think that if we can get a fans forum, whether it's our supporters groups together in one room, basically, with a selection of fans, I don't know, and try and iron out a kind of agenda, because we think that the club has significantly reduced its communication to fans. And I think that's part of the problem, if I'm being honest. I think that fans haven't got any kind of conduit to the club at the moment. And we're seeing more and more Twitter posts and Facebook posts saying, I don't really feel like the club have an identity anymore, and I don't feel close to my club anymore, and I'd rather go do something else on a Saturday. And that really, for me personally, as a long-term fan, that makes me really sad that people who followed Bradford City through thick and thin are in a position now where they're going, I don't know if I can go anymore. I'm not prepared to put up with things anymore. And and then you add on-field matters where we're not performing as we should be doing with the levels of players that we've got. And I think you've got then a perfect kind of trilogy of a mess right now.
Interesting thing you said there, Steve. Sorry, I'm just having my tea. Excuse me, but
no, crack on, pal.
Enjoy, pal.
Yeah, I am actually. When you said that fans don't feel like they're kind of like a part of the club anymore, the interesting thing for me is why that is, and what they think would kind of bring them back into the fold. Because I think that's a very great sort of point to raise and to kind of get that feedback from the fans. But maybe one step further would be to ask why that is, and what they've, is there anything the club should or could be doing that could kind of, because obviously I think what we've got it's twofold the way I see it. We've got kind of like on and off field. Now, obviously, on the field, we had a very good season last season, fell at the last sort of penultimate hurdle, haven't recovered from it as a club, which for me has then kind of, when things are going right, people don't notice what's going on in the club, if you like, but when things start going a bit wrong on the field, that's when people start to kind of pick up on things. So it's almost like, the way I see it is, we've got to kind of divide it into two. And with regards to the protests, etc., I think, I don't think, especially in game, I don't think like as an atmosphere or something, because I think that would transmit onto the pitch. And so it's kind of, I feel that to get some kind of like an agenda for like a fans forum or something, to almost do, to kind of see what the feelings are, and then kind of delve a little bit deeper into exactly what that people aren't happy with, and can kind of re-engage them with the club.
Well, one of the things, Stan, that did come back to us was the fact that they felt that communication really, specifically for fans, about progress within the club and things like that was significantly down. So they didn't feel close to things. They've also stopped doing like the, I haven't seen one for a while, inside match day and things like that. And I think that was a good move to basically get people, around the training pitch before the game and things like that. But you're right. I think some people, the trick here at the moment is to take the emotion out of it. The facts is that we are languishing at the moment in a position on field that really is not going to make us an attractive proposition to potential buyers. So, that does play hand in hand with the commercials. The better we do as a club on field, the more commercially that we can gain. So the two are intrinsically linked from a business sense because you've got a better product. If the club is basically performing and successful, better product, much more buy-in. But I think that what happens is people then get dismayed. I think that the recruitment process for Graham Alexander, and I'm in agreement, we should give this man a load of time because I think I've got this funny feeling, it's just the way he speaks and conducts himself. He could be the guy that actually now kind of solves this and does another parky potentially. That's how I feel. I don't think he's a chancer, and I think he's a student of the game. I think he studies various things. A lot of his stuff he talks about is the psychology of the player and getting them to have confidence and shoot when really their whole body's telling them not to shoot. Just little things like that. But I think if we can get on field working, and I think that Alexander will do that, and people can come back and beat me with a stick if that doesn't come to fruition, but I've just got a funny feeling that he's potentially the man who's going to change our fortunes on the field. But if we get a successful aspect of things, great. But if anybody listens back to this from the supporters board or the trust or whomever else, then DM me. We'll try and organise a fans forum. We'll look to get it kind of recorded, and because I believe in transparency as well. There's nothing to hide from our point of view. So we'll try and organise it. I've got no problem with it. I'll speak to Keith, try and do it at the Record Cafe or something, and make it happen. But I think if we can get a plan, and that's the other big thing as well that's missing, is that fans don't feel that there's a plan right now. On our space the other night, it was mentioned quite a few times. So, I think if we can get something that the fans can hold on to and go, right, this is a real plan at last, then I think that kind of confidence levels from supporters, because let's face it, our confidence levels are down as well, they will improve, and we'll start getting back to a point where people like me and my group, are kind of put away in the cupboard until, smash for emergency and we come out again. But yeah.
I've just got one question to ask you, Steve. So, do you know, like the supporters board and other supporters board, do they have to have like a threshold or memberships to be then like the? Sorry if I'm not wording it correctly, but like the club, Bradford City would like look at you as like actually a supporters board, if it makes sense what I'm trying to ask you.
So, as you know, Johnny, we have a brief form that we ask people to fill in to join our group. Just a membership. It's free. It costs you just your name and your email address. That's it. We don't. We're bound by GDPR. We don't ever share that or sell it on to anybody because it's not the right thing to do anyway. But the reason we have that is because if we can break a threshold, I think it is 1,500 to 3,000 members, then the club, and don't quote me this, I'll have to go check, but they have to recognise us as an official supporters group, which I think is where the supporters board is now. They have obviously that relationship with the club. We want to constructively challenge the club when it's appropriate to do so, when our supporters and our members tell us that actually these are things we need to challenge the club on, that's what we want to do. We'll always remain independent. We've no interest in kind of being awestruck by sitting in Valley Parade, etc., because we go there as fans, so it's not really a big deal. But we do want to be in a position where we can actually ask the powers that be the questions that really matter, so that we can stop instances in the stands of people going, well, they're telling us this, and I've heard this, and I've done this, and the reality is that, me personally, my opinion is I think the supporters board have got to be more, I won't say aggressive, but more firm, and represent the fans accordingly. Because the reality is that if they're not going to do it, and they'll probably argue that they feel that they are, but if they're not going to do it, then we will. we've got no qualms about asking the questions that need to be asked. I'm not looking for a warm relationship with anybody. I'm not wanting to be best friends with Ryan Sparks, but at the same time, he and Rupp are custodians of our club. And as I've said many times before, they might stay for 5 years and then leave. Fans, we're here for life. We don't get to pick and choose that way. We have to basically toe whatever's put in front of us. And I think that we have a right as the biggest stakeholder in our club to ask those questions when about progress and where we're going.
I think it's a very good point, because I think what you're sort of saying is that really you want to be asking, not be like difficult to the club, but ask difficult questions is kind of what you're pretty much saying, which I agree. You can ask difficult questions or uncomfortable questions without actually being antagonistic.
Oh, don't get me wrong, Stan. I'm a businessman. I've held many high-level meetings and things like that. I'm not. There's a way and an approach that you have to take with things like that, and it's not swearing, effing and jeffing, or being basically a knobhead. But at the same time, Ryan Sparks gets paid a salary to be CEO of that business. Stefan Rupp is the owner of that business. And, it can't always be sweetness and light, because I know that Bradford City fans, and I'll speak from my own position, if Ryan Sparks comes out and does a good job and gets something, I'll be straight on social media and say he's done a fantastic job. That's the reality of it. If Stefan Rupp's done something, I'll come out and say Stefan Rupp has done a fantastic job, and we'll do it as the Bradford group. We'll say it publicly. But the fact of the matter is on the other flip side of that is Ryan Sparks and Stefan Rupp have also got to be prepared that when things are not going well, when there doesn't seem to be any plan, or there is no kind of indication of how they want to progress us, then they have to expect that those questions will be asked as well. And I think Jamie Rayner does a good job at Radio Leeds sometimes of putting those questions across, but I think we need a little bit more of a consistent approach. So praise when praise is deserved, but challenge constructively when it needs to happen.
On that, is there anyone else who wants to add anything to that? I think it's been very good listening to Steve, and I've followed you on Twitter, Steve. If you want to follow us back, if I can help in some way, I'll do something. Give me a shout. But yeah,
everybody's welcome, Stan. There's really is no agenda. Everybody's welcome. Every opinion's valuable. If we can't feel that we can't move something on that a fan is passionate about, then we'll be honest about it, because sometimes at this moment in time it's like a game of chess. The club really don't have to engage with our group at this moment. But the reality is that the more members that we get, the more people who sign up to our membership, they might just want to sit in the shadows and not engage with us and not do anything. But there might be some people who want us to get points across to the club. It might be a case of some of our disabled supporters haven't got the facilities they need. I know that these are off-field matters, but they're really important to our fans. We've got the situation behind the cop at the end of the games, getting everybody out there. It's an accident waiting to happen in a lot of cases. And then we've still got the freestanding aspect of things. So, everybody's welcome to join us. They don't have to contribute anything. We have a newsletter for members who we've got email addresses for that we'll send out. It won't be every 2 seconds, but it's more designed that the newsletter comes out to give people an update on what we're progressing. Because social media is hit and miss. You can basically put stuff out on social media. People might not ever see it. So that's the other reason we asked for the email address as well. But everybody's welcome. We're all Bradford City fans. I love the club passionately. My first game was in 1983. I think that we've had enough kind of bad luck. I think it's time now to flip it on its head. And our job really is to drive those players on. That's our job right now. But at the same time, we have to have a position where we can constructively challenge the club on some of the not so nice stuff, some of the stuff that, because at this moment in time, for the most part, a lot of people would suggest that the club has no ambition. because it's not basically kind of mooting there. We wanted to get out of here. We want to basically get to Championship, etc., etc. Or that's the feedback we're getting from some fans. So, if I can help you, if you want to DM me, I'm known as Bantam1873. Some of you follow me already. I can see Trace there, who's lovely. Get in touch. But anything I can do to help, I'll do.
On that, sorry, Johnny. So, what in your kind of estimation, where do you think, or is it kind of like there are so many kind of aspects, but where do you see the most kind of crucial thing being that the club needs to work on? I mean, my guess is that the immediate fortunes that need turning are on the field, and then do you see that as like a tiered kind of get that sort of kind of rolling, get the ball rolling in that direction, or is it just multiple areas at the same time, or do you feel that there's something that's more urgent and more pressing at this moment in time?
I think you've got two areas, Stan, right now that are a challenge. The first one is obvious, and that's on pitch fortunes. And the problem that you've got there is that the club were really, really lapsed in terms of any kind of update during that recruitment process. So nobody really bought into it. Then things were leaked, and Graham Alexander came in, fine. But I think on field at the moment is a problem. And it's a problem not just only from league position, but from a commercial sense as well. Because nobody's going to invest commercially in a club that's languishing in 19th with Premiership standard stadium. That's the reality of it. So that's the first thing. The on-field is the obvious one. But the second one that he's got is, and I'm speaking from Ryan's point of view, if I was sat in his chair, his major other thing is customer apathy, i.e. the supporters. The supporters are split at the moment on various different fronts. And the reality is you have to unify that kind of that thing that is going to drive money into the club, because without the money, the club basically cannot produce the budgets. If it is truly self-sufficient, he's reliable on kind of season ticket and then obviously customer spend, incremental revenue such as on the concourse, shirts, etc., and other things. So he's got a real challenge now. If he carries on hiding his head in the sand and not engaging with his customers, with his supporters, he has a real problem, because what will end up happening eventually is what we're seeing pockets of now. We want him out. He's no good. He can never recover from this. Because I asked a fan the other night, if he basically did some things, do you think that your view of him could change? Could he recover? And I think the answer was no. He's, excuse my French, his shit is awful. So, I think that those are the two challenges he has right now, is how to bring back his customers online. And at this moment in time, the content that's coming out of the club is more geared towards, let's try and sell you some more stuff. I know it's Black Friday today, but the membership kind of pack went down like a lead balloon. It wasn't well received. The loyalty scheme has not gone particularly well, in my opinion. I think it could have been a lot better. And I think we're deserving of a better loyalty scheme than what's been given to us. So I think he has some fires to fight across all fronts. But to answer your question, Stan, and sorry it's been roundabout, on-field stuff needs to change. And he's got to basically now start to engage and build engagement with his supporters again and get them on side, because we know that when the supporters are on side, that ground rumbles with the sound that comes out of it. And if he can get them back on side and give them a vision of what he's trying to do and where he's trying to go, then we'll start to see fortunes change at the club. But until somebody challenges him on that, it's going to be Chinese whispers across social media and other platforms, because he just refuses to come out and have those conversations.
So I've just been looking at on Twitter, Bantam's banter. I know they've just joined in the space, but then they disappeared. He did a tweet about 2 or 3 minutes ago. This is such a shit time to support the club. Fans at each other's necks. Dross on the pitch, threats of protest, mess of a squad, heartbreaking. Stinks of the Peter Taylor era, carbon copy almost. All the incredible work to lift the club from the depths wasted.
I think what I was going to say in response to Steve, and I think my view is that let's assume that Ryan Sparks is going to be in the job for X amount of time in the near sort of future. So what's got to happen? It's got to happen, like, two things have got to happen, in my opinion. I think the fans have got to come to terms with that. But from his point of view, he's got to deliver a few things. Now, the thing that you were talking about people kind of, I think for me, the apathy is worse. I can almost take people being pissed off because at least there's a passion there. But when people stop giving a shit about what's going on the field, that is the worst, because there's almost it's very hard to kind of come back from that. Now, and I've mentioned this in previous spaces on this one, on the League Two, on the 606 one, is that my biggest bugbear with, my biggest bugbear with Ryan Sparks is had a plan, a so-called plan, and not stuck with it. And he's basically kind of listened to the fans. It's like, you've got to have a little bit of strength, and he should, sort of be. I'm not saying it would have worked, but so like at the first sign of trouble at mill kind of thing, is to say, no, look, this is the plan. We've got this plan. So that suggests that they either don't have a plan, or that he's too fickle or too passive, too kind of concerned about fans' opinions, to say, no, look, this is the plan. Trust me, this will take us forward, but it won't be easy. There'll be ups and downs, and there are some downs at the moment. So I hope to God that, like I say, if Ryan Sparks is still in the job for however long, is that right? We've got Graham Alexander. We've got to obviously give him till the end of this season, but give him the whole of next season and potentially the season after that, because, as I said before, like when Parky was here, there were quite a few rumblings at the time, and Mark Lawn and Julian Rhodes stuck with Parky, and it kind of it brought us success, because obviously we had a good manager and he was the right fit for the club at the right time, but also they kind of rode the waves because they kind of trusted the plan. If let's assume that they did have a plan, and so that's one of my sort of criticisms of Spark. So I think, unfortunately, I get that people are pissed off with the club, with the way the club's run, or the lack of communication, because that can be kind of, things like that can be remedied. And I think we've just got to kind of go with it. Easier said than done, because, at the end of the day, I think if things hadn't started off so badly at the start of this season, or shall we say underwhelmingly, and we'd have just carried on, and we'd have carried on the form, and whatever, I think there would have been fewer rumblings in and around the peripheries of like what's going on the field. So it's a difficult one, but I think probably we have to kind of wait and see now. We just see what's going to happen. See what's going to happen in January. I mean, personally, I hope Ryan East comes back and Jake Young, and we kind of go along and utilise their talents, because I'm a massive Ryan East fan. But that's that side. I would sooner the team progressed rather than like my favourite, not in a bad way, but I'd put the team over my favourite individual within the team. And so, yeah, I think it is a case. But I think, Steve, you've hit on so many good points there tonight, and I think we've got to, even if maybe we do it ourselves as fans, kind of find some kind of unification with regards to a coherent message to the club. And I think an organisation like yours can probably help that.
Right. Going to start winding it down, but has anybody got any last words they want to say, or anyone, or does anyone else want to put a request in before we put the tennis balls away or send them back to Sports Direct tomorrow?
Well, if anybody wants them, I've got loads here for me that I used to have for my dog.
Because going back to that, I've just seen it now, actually, I made myself chuckle. So 36 minutes ago, Scrapman Great name. I'll be stood outside with a sack full of tennis balls, giving them away in return for scrap metal.
Yeah. Can I just
So,
say? Can I
sorry,
just say something?
go for
Our
it.
juniors are in action tonight in FA Youth Cup, but they were losing 1-0 at half time, so I think Barnsley want to get us back.
And also, members of the first team coaching staff are in attendance tonight at the game.
Oh, good.
So that means probably none of them will be in squad tomorrow.
Yeah, I can
So,
see them.
so just one more time. I know, Stan, you like to sit on the fence. So your score prediction for tomorrow, please.
No comment.
Again.
No comment again. Oh, you need to get off that wooden fence. You'll be painful in arse if you keep sitting on that fence. Diane, predictions for tomorrow?
I'm going to say 2-0 and Harry's not going to let a goal in.
That means we're going to end up losing 3-1 or something now.
Don't you dare, what?
And last but not least, Mr. Steve. Score prediction for
I'm
tomorrow.
going 2-1. I woke up thinking 2-1, so I'm going 2-1 Bradford.
Oh, you
Okay.
reckon Harry let a goal in?
I'm sorry, Diane, but I've just got this. I think it'll be a really tough game tomorrow. Genuinely.
Yeah.
But I think 2-1. I think home momentum will send us through.
Okay, my prediction. Probably going to snow tomorrow now. Going to say this, but I think we're going to win 1-0. And I'm going to go Ash Taylor to score.
Oh.
Yep.
I heard that somebody went down to the training ground that I know, and he said that Gilead was going for fun yesterday.
Happy days.
Mm-hmm.
Right, I'm just going to push this button here. So I want to say thank you, everybody, for joining today. From Stan, Diane, Steve, and Owen, and other people. Also, if you like what you're hearing, you can find us on Bradford City Up the Chickens on all podcast services. Also on YouTube, Brace Dodge 1. Also, if you want to come and like us on Bradford City Up the Chickens on Facebook as well. Wherever you are in the world, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Thanks for listening.